It's a really good question, and I think the interesting thing is that I think a lot of people think and live that way. But if you think about what promises do, like you said, uh, you're a boss, right? You have an employee. You promise to pay your employee, and the employee promises to show up. So the employee trusts you, and you trust your employee. The employee shows up every day, and she does her work, and she does it to her best ability and to the description that you specified as a boss. The end of the month comes or pay period comes and you pay that employee, the employee knows that you delivered on that promises, on your promise to pay, and that employee will show up for the next pay period to provide her service and do the work that you require as an employer. Now, let's change that and say that one, it breaks the promise. So let's say first it's the employer who breaks the promise because, historically it's the employers who don't pay their employees for whatever reasons. And we all have been in that situation.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Lubim Kogan, a remarkable five-time first-generation immigrant and Witan Olympian. His journey has taken him from Wall Street to humanitarian missions, and he now leads wingsforheroes.org, helping amputee veterans find purpose and joy through adventure. Let's take a moment to explore Lubim's insights and the quote that has inspired him on this incredible path. Well, no, yeah, but mirror. This to wake you when you sin. There is time to talk about what I like to do. This is really nice. Look at it side by side and redesign it. Then there are lines 1, 2, 3, 4. The lines at the bottom. It's just this graphics well framed. And there's the squats and color and sized and yeah.
Yes.
Tell me your name and what you do.
My name is Lubim, and I run a mission that is called Wings for Heroes, where I take amputee and disabled veterans and I take them out of their environment and I create a loving environment where they can spend 10 days being cared for. And the highlight is that we go paragliding. That's the reset point.
Yeah, because you kept mentioning environment, and I was like, I had wings until I had
Okay,
paragliding. That was when I was like, okay, yeah, that's it.
it made sense,
Okay,
right?
yeah. What's your favorite quote?
So the quote that is the foundation of the whole mission is, it's easy to make promises, but it's hard to keep them.
Tell me about this quote.
I actually came up with it throughout years of trying to do things and realizing that we make promises on different levels. You made a promise that you will show up, and I made a promise that I will show up. And we both showed up, and now we can hopefully add value to your listeners. And if you think about it, we live in a society, we are interconnected with one another, and no matter how much we think we're independent, we rely on other people with big things and with things that can affect our life. In other words, it may prolong somebody else's life or it can end. And I think a lot of times people just really give promises if they feel they can get something that they want. And a lot of times they don't have an intention of keeping the promise. In case of Wings for Heroes, the promise that I am talking about is the promise that we make to brave men and women who decide that they will pick up arms and go defend their homeland against evil. And if you look at what's going on around the world, there is no question in anyone's mind that there is evil, and that evil is starting wars all over the place. We have huge war going on in Ukraine. We have a war going on in Gaza. We had something that just happened in Syria. Then you look India, Pakistan, North and South Korea. So there are a lot of places that, evil is trying to come and take by force. And the reason that the evil has not taken over the whole world is because there are brave men and women who made the promise that they're going to serve and protect their country, and they actually go out there every day and they risk their health and they risk their life. Now, If anything happens to those brave men and women who are protecting us, we have a contract. Our society has a contract that says that you go out there and you protect us. And if anything happens to you, then when you come back injured or missing a limb, or you cannot hear or see, we will take care of you. And God forbid, if anything happens and you die, then we will take care of your family. And that is the promise that we have. But if you look at what's going on in reality, the situation is very different. So the way I am keeping the promise is actually, I'm not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for everybody. Because we all agreed that we will support people who protect us. And even though most people are busy with chasing their dreams, which is nothing wrong with that, I'm all for chasing your own dreams, and I've done that majority of my life. And it just so happened that this time I had the opportunity to give back. So I am keeping the promise, not the promise that I made, but also the promise that our society made to those who protect us.
I want us to step back a bit, right, before we talk about the company and all that. And I don't know if it's a company, but before we talk about Wing for Heroes, we'll come back to that in a bit. Personally, right? You said this is your coach, right? And you said it's easy to keep promises, but hard to keep them, right? Personally,
Yes.
why do you think, why do we even make promises in the first place?
A promise is it has value in it. A promise it's a statement that you will or will not do something. So when you meet somebody who you don't have established relationship with, or somebody who you have an established relationship with, and that you need that person to do something for you, then in exchange you give something to them, something of value. You can pay them money, or you can promise to pay them money. You can
Okay.
do a favor, or you can promise to do a favor. You can promise to get them something, or you can get them something. So many times it's not practical to deliver that value. So what we do is we make the promise that we will deliver the value after we receive something that we need from another person, the company, or whatever entity it may be.
Yeah, I get it that there are certain necessary promises that are, that are needed to make the world run, right? Uh, yeah, right. Me reaching out to you and you saying, "Ah, yeah, that's a fantastic idea. We should. I'd love to be on your podcast." Right? That's a promise. Like I'm trying to imagine a world where you didn't have to make a promise, and and book a time and then show up. But I just want to talk about the other promises where we go out of our way to make promises, right? Not the promises that is necessary for the function of society. Like if you're working for your boss, for example, he has made a promise that at the end of the month, he's going to pay you the agreed amount. Right? That's a promise,
Yes,
right? And you've
yes,
also made a promise that you are going to show up and do the the agreed work that you're employed for. But I'm talking about promises where I could in this call I could tell you that wait, yeah, that's great. I'm going to donate amount to help your cause and all that, right? That's a promise
yes,
now. Now,
yes,
now that's a promise. And and it might end up that I don't even keep the promise. So why is it like, why is it in the first place? Why is it that we make promises? Like, why don't we just do the things we need to do now for rather than just talking about it? Like if I was going to give you let's say 10 grand for a course, why not just send you the 10 grand instead of telling you, oh yeah, I'll send you 10 grand to support this stuff, and then you sending me a message and say, yeah, wisdom, you told you're going to send me 10 grand. I'm like, oh, and even I block your number back to your course.
it's
uh,
it's a really good question, and I think the interesting thing is that I think a lot of people think and live that way. But if you think about what promises do, like you said, uh, you're a boss, right? You have an employee. You promise to pay your employee, and the employee promises to show up. So the employee trusts you, and you trust your employee. The employee shows up every day, and she does her work, and she does it to her best ability and to the description that you specified as a boss. The end of the month comes or pay period comes and you pay that employee, the employee knows that you delivered on that promises, on your promise to pay, and that employee will show up for the next pay period to provide her service and do the work that you require as an employer. Now let's change that and say that one, it breaks the promise. So let's say first it's the employer who breaks the promise because, historically it's the employers who don't pay their employees for whatever reasons. And we all have been in that situation. So if an employer takes an advantage of the employee and that employer promises to make a payment and the pay period goes by and the employer says, look, I have whatever reason, I'm not going to pay you now, I will pay you at the next pay period. And the next pay period comes and the employer breaks the promise again. Now, the employee is in the situation where there are two things that are happening. Number one, she cannot take care of her promises or responsibilities, because based on the promise that she will get paid if she provides her service, she makes a lot of plans, have family, you have children, you have obligations. So all those promises that the employee made, they're also broken because the employer decided not to follow through. You get to two pay periods or whatever amount, and the employee says, I am not working for you anymore. I'm done. I cannot trust you. So, that broken promise, first of all, created a lot of issue down the line because somebody relied on it. In this case, the employee said, I will, and there is no plan B, right? They're expecting the paycheck. And we can reverse the situation and say, look, the employee didn't show up and now the boss. I had one time, we started the healthcare agency, it was back in 2010. And if the employee didn't show up, I had to go and do the work. Okay? So basically, now you have the boss who is supposed to run the business is doing the work that was meant for an employee to do, but the employee did not keep the promise and failed the boss. So if we keep making promises on a small level and we keep breaking them, then our life will turn into chaos, or it will turn into this nightmare where everybody will have to wait. So there is no more trust. All the promises are broken. So I will require you to pay me before I start my work as an employee, or pay me
Well,
every day, or pay me every hour. So it will be just more work and less time to do productive things. So promises allow us to function very effectively and efficiently for an extended period of time.
yeah, yeah. And keeping promises is the whole ideology on what trust is built on. The people we trust are the people that over time in the past they've made promises and they've kept it over and over and over again. And so we're like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's trustworthy. And but it's easy to like see it in other persons, but if we take it back to ourselves, right? The reason why a lot of persons have low self-esteem, not and self-confidence is that we make promises to ourselves. We tell ourselves, I'm going to do this thing, right? And guess what? We don't do it. We don't show up. And what happens, like, it's like, if you have a friend who tells you every time that, hey, I'm going to do this. I'll be there by 8 o'clock. You see me there. And you wait and like, okay, let's give him 10 minutes. And you wait the whole day, he doesn't show up. And you're like, okay, stuff happened. Life happened. Maybe it's not his fault. You set an arrangement again. He doesn't show up. You set an arrangement again. He doesn't show up. Over time, you just realize that. I mean, he will start telling you that, no, it's not like that. I'm really serious. And you just smile and you laugh and say, no, no, no. Don't worry about it. And the same thing we do to ourselves. We tell ourselves that, oh, I will do this thing now. I'll show up. I'll do this thing, but we don't. And guess what? We start losing the respect of ourselves, and we're not confident on ourselves. We have low self-esteem because in the past, all we've done is that everything we said we would do, we did not do it. And these are things that nobody's even aware of because these are personal goals that, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. And you have people who they're not even sure of what they could do because they don't even respect themselves.
I think it's excellent that you went and you started at the origin, making promises to ourselves is the biggest confidence builder because you know it, the things that you promise to yourself. And if you're the kind of person that gets things done, then you just think of yourself that way. But if you're constantly creating these little lies and, you're making these promises that you have no intention of keeping, then your self-esteem is not real. At the first test, you will crumble because there is no substance to a person who just goes around. And first of all, if you break promise to yourself, I think it would be really difficult to keep a promise to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
So I think you took it in the very right direction, saying like, look, the responsibility of holding the promise and making the promises starts with me. And you know what? Next time I want to make a promise to myself, I'm just gonna hit the pause button, and I'm gonna hit the pause button and think, okay, what is required for me, from me? What do I have to do to follow through with this promise? It's like we have some things that are easy to do and some things are hard, and it's different for everybody. So, like for me, for example, exercising is really important. I can tell you exactly how many days I exercised or not exercised in the past 20 years because that's what I start my day with. And for some people, it's extremely difficult for them to like start exercising and keeping at it. But for somebody like me, I cannot live with it, because that's the promise that I made to myself when I was young. And it's important to me, so I'm carrying through with it. But there are some other things that people can do, and it would be extremely difficult for me, to keep that promise. So before making a big promise, I spend a lot of time thinking. But once I make that promise, I can do it for the rest of my life. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
promised to
It's
me, so
yeah.
I'm failing myself if I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I found that it's better to under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you promised it for yourself. But if you think about how things are working in our society, like people who are the most successful, the ones who get to the top, especially in politics and the government, they're the ones who promise the most. They never have any intentions of following through. They'll promise you everything. They'll
Uh,
increase, unemployment will be gone. You'll get paid more money. And at the same time, they will reduce inflation and interest rates and print more money and stabilize currency. Like all the promises that are like, they're completely contradicting one another. So we live in a society where people who run our governments, for the most part, made promises that they had no intentions of delivering because their job is, as a politician, is to get elected and then reelected. And then there is the rest of us, but we don't have that privilege. And we really have to, make it a point that we're going to keep our word and we are going to follow through because we are the ones who are doing the work, and we are making things happen. It's not somebody else.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your quote and helping me make sense of it. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about Wings for Heroes. What's it? Is it a company, a foundation, a nonprofit? What exactly is Wings for Heroes?
Wings for Heroes. It's first of all, it's not a charity. I don't do charity work.
Okay.
It's a mission, and the mission is to restore dignity and give those who sacrifice so much at war a second chance. And that second chance with Wings for Heroes starts with bringing our veterans, our disabled veterans. And by the way, we are a neutral organization, and there are no flags, there is no preferences in countries. I'm taking it across the ocean this November, and then I hope that someday will be in all countries because every country has a disabled veteran, and that disabled veteran needs to feel what it's like when somebody is really caring for them. So I bring them here. They experience the beach, the mountains, local culture, local food. They meet local people. We are in Turkey because this is an ideal place to do this kind of work for all the reasons, and starting with financial. For me, it costs, yes, I can, 4 sessions of physical therapy here is more than one. Well, actually, 4 sessions of physical therapy in the United States is
It's
more than
less
a
than.
month.
It's
Four
more than or
sessions
it's
in the
less
United
than.
States is 4 sessions in the United States is less than 1 month of therapy in Turkey. So I can fly somebody from the United States to Turkey and do a month of therapy. It would be a lot less than doing it in the United States. So four
Okay, so what you're saying
therapies in the
is
US are more than a
therapy is
month here.
cheaper in Turkey.
Yes, by
Yeah,
far,
that's yeah,
by a lot.
that's because the way you analyze everything, my
Sorry.
brain was like, it was.
Sorry, my brain is super analytical if I made that tricky.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
is that,
yeah.
we have the sea and the mountains, and we have people who really want to volunteer. Like our volunteers, they spend days and nights, they take our heroes canoeing, and they just are there to serve. It's really cool to see how wonderful Turkish people. It's a veteran from another country. They don't even speak the same
Yeah.
language, but to them it doesn't matter. And what started with trying to take them up in the air, because when you go flying, like at that moment, you forget everything. You're so scared. Your subconscious mind thinks that you're going to die. You will not think about any problems, including, that you lost a leg or an arm. So, but along the way, I found out that they need a lot of other things, like physical therapy. They need, we have swimming, we added swimming, cycling, we have a psychologist and staff. So it's like the mission is growing. And again, it's not a charity, it's a mission to restore dignity and show our love and respect to people who sacrificed so much at war.
Yeah. Yeah. How long has the mission been going?
Okay. The idea started, well, in 2016, I saw a double amputee just by the side of the road in really bad condition. I helped them out and I was thinking, like, how could that be? And then in 2022, when the full-scale invasion started in Ukraine, I saw a teenage girl walk out in the middle of the stadium with a prosthetic leg. And she said, look, they can take our land. They can even take a part of my body, but they cannot break me. And the reaction that she had on the full stadium was, it was amazing. And to me, at that moment, I decided that I am doing something. And we actually flew and had our first outing here. It was June of last year. So the idea and trying to implement it, it took a year and a half, and now we're running that. June 18th, we will cross 1 year. So we have a week to go.
Oh,
For
June
1
18,
year.
1 year. Oh, birthday's coming. Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
I'll get my birthday cake sent to me.
When is your birthday?
No, the birthday of the mission.
Okay.
Not, I mean,
I
we're
thought we were
celebrating
the
Wings for
same.
Heroes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
birthday cake is coming
mine
soon,
is in
but
July, not June.
July what?
Yeah, July 2nd.
No way.
Your birthday is July 2nd?
Yeah.
Hey, what are the odds? Wow, that's nice.
Okay.
I've seen
Now it's
people who take me out. I'll just shadow you, follow you. Yeah, I'll tag along. Yeah,
okay.
wow. So I guess I'll send you a congratulations message. We'll both
Yeah, I
congratulate
know when your
ourselves.
birthday.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So very
Oh, thank you
awesome.
so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for
If
having
people
me.
want to check out Wings for Heroes and learn more about what you do, where can they do that?
.org is the best place. Do you leave description in the link, because we are wings number 4 heroes.org.
So
All the public videos
wingsforheroes.com
are there.
and
.org.
the 4
.org.
is a number 4, right?
Yeah, wingsforheroes.org.
Okay, wings. Wait,
Or for
sorry,
wings,
wingsforheroes dot org.
wingsforheroes.org.
Okay,
Yes.
the link is in the description. It's in the show notes.
Yep.
But sometimes someone might just be listening to someone else playing it in their house, and they, we never know how people would get to hear this message. So we want to make sure it's easy for them to remember and find us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wings
Okay.
number 4 heroes, wingsforheroes.org.
Yeah,
And the
and you
story is
can.
there, and all the videos are at the bottom of every page. So just scroll down and you'll get the soul of the mission, I hope.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much for sharing this mission with us and sharing your favorite quotes with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Wisdom.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Konkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.